What do people think about when they're deciding to buy a new house? Where do they start? Do they think about the Arctic sea ice melting? Do they think about the effects of overpopulation? What about protecting the world's natural resources? Ridding the environment of toxic chemicals? Depletion of the Amazon rainforest? Do they think about how things are changing all around us? Everywhere we look, the world is changing faster than we can imagine. What can we do about it? Where do we go for answers? What about starting with the one place where change isn't happening fast enough? Now more than ever, it's time for us to change the way we think about everything we do. Change is difficult. We tend to want to cling to the past, to a time when the world's population was half what it is today, before we needed to worry about our carbon footprint, when natural resources were ours for the taking. To address the changes we face today, we need to think big. You've heard it before. Change starts with each one of us, with the choices we make every day. And that includes the homes we live in. In the past, thinking big looked like this: the biggest house you could afford on the biggest piece of land with the most toys. And to protect it all, big iron gates and a security system. Thinking big meant creating your own private world, separated by walls from everything else. But today, with all that's changing in the world, it's time to start thinking bigger. Instead of living in our own private fantasy worlds, we start living in the real world. You can't get much bigger than that. The world isn't out there, it's right here, all around us. You, your family, and your house are part of the world. When we start thinking big like this, it changes everything we do. It starts with questioning all those things we used to value, like big houses and big cars, and thinking about how all our choices affect everything around us. We start thinking about what's really important. Goals like getting the most for your money mean something very different now. In a world where rainforests are vanishing and the sea is rising, all that stuff we used to think was so important is being swept away by coastal flooding, heat waves, and drought. Thinking big in the real world means finding win-win solutions in which everyone benefits, you and your family, and the rest of the world. It's also called sharing. What does that look like? Well, for example, a home designed for energy efficiency uses less fossil fuel, produces less CO2 pollution, and saves you money on utility costs. Non-toxic building materials saves the environment and creates a healthier living space for you. Green building methods use products from sustainable sources, and less of them, so there's less waste and more cost savings. Also, green methods create more durable, long-lasting structures. All this reduces your building costs while protecting the planet. Thinking big causes us to reevaluate what we mean by most when we say getting the most for your money, because we begin to see that the decisions we make affect far more than our private fantasy worlds. Change is all around us, and we are part of it. We come to realize that when we build a new home, we are changing the world.